today's episode, we're going to be talking about Clive Davis, the man behind the monster P. Diddy.
After he revealed his sexuality, they did it with understanding and support and warmth, and it really impressed me and continues to impress me. As far as myself is concerned, I was totally straight until through my second marriage. I've got 4 kids and grandkids. I opened up myself after the failure of my second marriage, never having had anything with a man, to see, could I be attracted to the person and not the gender? And I did find that I could be attracted to a man.
Focus right now is Sean Combs, because he's a trafficker. Most likely because he was victimized by his mentor.
Diddy and Clive Davis, have they ever had anything past business? Because to me, they seem to mirror each other behavior-wise. Like to me, they both got like that dark energy around them.
Diddy's career has suffered greatly as a result of the government probe, and the most recent bombshell, in case you missed it, Clive Davis is speaking up, and this might spell even more problems for Diddy. There have long been rumors of a possible homosexual connection between Clive and Diddy. Business insiders first raised the possibility of a covert relationship between the two music moguls in the early 2000s. It was the type of scandal that had everyone in the business whispering in hushed tones. But was there any truth to the claims, or were they simply smoke and mirrors?
It was with the help of Clive Davis, his mentor. And the further into it all you dig, you realize that Clive Davis came out as gay later on, and there's a lot of rumors that him and Diddy were in a relationship throughout this time. This is going to come up over and over and over, just by chance. Clive Davis has been running significant portions of the music industry since our parents were kids listening to music. Responsible for artists like Aretha Franklin, Alicia Keys, The Grateful Dead, then later Usher, Outkast, Pink. But back in the 60s and 70s, like Janis Joplin, Santana, Aerosmith, Pink Floyd, like, come on, read it. Jones specifically claims that they were trying to groom him to do gay stuff, which has long been the talk of the town in the rap industry by people that aren't with it. Diddy allegedly showed him a tape from a secret recording that he just happened to have of Jones's idol having gay some white guy.
Now, Clive Davis is an American record producer and music executive. He's an older man. He was born in the 30s, actually 1932. Clive has had a significant impact on the music industry, having worked with numerous iconic artists and being responsible for signing many landmark musicians. He's won 5 Grammys. He's been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so he's been around. In 2013, Clive actually came out as bisexual. At this point, he was 80 years old, and he revealed this in his memoir. And you know, there's not a lot of people in 2013 who's just really coming out, and then we've got this 80-year-old guy who's been around a ton of musicians who now announces he's been in a long-term relationship with a man, which I'm all about.
In your book, you reveal that you are bisexual. Why did you wait so long, Clive, to make that public?
I was only turning to bisexuality after my second marriage failed. When the marriage failed in the mid-'80s, I opened myself up to the possibility that I could have a relationship with a man, as well as the 2 that I had with a woman.
Now, there's a connection between Diddy and Clive. Back when Diddy was young, he was a vodka promoter. He really didn't have much of a career happening, but he wanted to start a record label. When he met Clive, Clive was rather established, so he was 23 and able to convince Clive to take hip-hop seriously, and Clive actually funded him and helped Diddy build Bad Boys. It's actually speculated that Diddy and Clive were in a relationship based on how quickly Diddy's record label Bad Boys became successful. This person tweeted that Diddy was given his Bad Boy imprint by Clive Davis, who is openly gay. I mean, he says bisexual, but what Diddy had to do for riches is not uncommon for successful black men in entertainment and in politics. All that glitters is not gold. Run your race, let the next man run his. Interesting. Now, a lot of people believe that Diddy is the way that he is. I mean, we've talked about him in countless videos at this point because of how Clive kind of groomed him to be this way.
They sacrificed Diddy. They said, take this because we can't be involved. But Diddy's smart. He filmed every session, so he was Clive and and freak boy that run Universal Music Group. So he got them on some tapes. Now that's why they raiding the house, because they got friends in Homeland Security and the feds. And they said, get in there and get them tapes from this nigga. He trying to blackmail us. That's what I believe is going on.
Puff often attended Clive Davis' renowned pre-Grammy party, where there were reportedly some really bizarre activities. Some have said that since these gatherings were so crazy, Puffy picked up some of his dubious behaviors from these events. On page 6, one source was spilled. As is customary, Puffy is usually at the top of the list, but this is the scoop. An astute observer, an insider, noted that Did wasn't at the forefront of this year's digital invite picture montage, which naturally got everyone talking and made them speculate that he could have been secretly erased. However, a representative for Clive denied the claims, stating that he wasn't purged and that they just updated the photographs every year.
I don't think sexuality is something that has anything to do with gender at this point for Sean. I honestly think he's just an extreme narcissist who loves power. He loves the ability to manipulate and control people. Why? Most likely because he was victimized by his mentor, who loves to control people.
And his mentor was
Andre Harrell.
Tell us how
who was
he
mentored by Clive Davis.
Oh God. And don't tell me that Andre Harrell got touched by Clive Davis too.
I'm telling you, I don't know what happened between Andre and Clive. What I do know is that Andre got passed over. Like, how do you go from being the president of Uptown and losing your entire company to your intern? Like, Puff started out as an intern.
Yes,
he was throwing parties with Mark Barnes in Washington, D.C. And then he became an intern at Uptown, and he was very, proactive. And if there's one thing that Sean knows, he knows pop culture.
That is true. He knows what's hot.
Like, I cannot take anything away from where he has been extremely effective.
Yes.
He knows pop culture. Matter of fact, he probably knows pop culture better than he knows music.
I never felt like he had a lot of talent in music. Is that fair for me to say?
I mean, nobody really cares about him rapping.
Right.
I didn't know why he did that, but then again, why not do it? They're listening to all these other artists that you're putting out. Why not be one too and get that extra check? If people are buying into your brand, why not take it all the way? I'm not hating on him for getting money.
Me either.
I'm just hating on the way he got it. And I'm hating on the overall effect of what it's done to not only the artist on his label, the artist that got shelved, the artist that got dropped. Not only that, but what he did to culture. Because he made culture like an Andy Warhol painting. And don't get me wrong, Andy Warhol, great artist.
Right.
But let's keep it a bean. Andy Warhol was pop culture. That's what if I were to put a label on Puff, I would say that he's the Andy Warhol of hip hop.
The Andy Warhol. Okay. I hear you.
And he got smart and he listened to all of his advisors, mostly Clive Davis, and he won.
So really what she's saying is that Diddy was Clive's favorite, and that's why he was immediately put onto this pedestal at a young age, really no experience, and now he's running everything. Now Diddy has honored Clive throughout the years, so they still maintain a decent relationship. In 2019 at the Grammys, he was quoted saying that Clive Davis and Arista Records gave him a chance when he was starting Bad Boy Records. He was one of the first industry executives to really believe in him and Diddy, and he's forever grateful for Clive.
Bad Boy Entertainment. I named it Bad Boy because I wanted to go against the grain. Anytime you go against the grain, they consider you kind of bad. Nothing negative, nothing hardcore. Just, I didn't want to be regular.
So Clive was ultimately impressed by Diddy's vision and decided to fund his project. He immediately took Diddy under his wing and they became the best of friends. And by best friends, I mean there are rumors that in 1994, Clive forced Diddy to do some intimate things to him to be his, mentee.
But he got a boss too, and his boss name is Clive Davis. Clive run him. Diddy don't run himself.
So of course, all this talk about, Diddy has led to people talking about Clive.
It's strange, to be honest, that 70-year-old music mogul Clive Davis came out as B. However, everyone is wondering if Diddy was the one who encouraged Clive to come out of the closet so he wouldn't be held accountable. After all, it's not often that someone at Clive's age comes out, especially in Hollywood.
Now, in the book, you reveal to the world for the first time about your bisexuality. Is there a reason you've decided to do that now? Did you feel that maybe in the past there may have been repercussions?
I wasn't until my second marriage failed. I was a total straight heterosexual, married twice, 4 children, and totally attracted to women, and had neither of my 2 marriages failed for the reason of sexuality. So it was really only after my second marriage failed that I opened myself up to the person and not the gender. And so the only time I really could talk about it was really and when I wrote my autobiography. I mean, it's my family I certainly spoke to, and my close friends knew, but you don't wear that on your sleeve. Oh, I must say, since my book has come out, I really feel some gratification that the subject of bisexuality is not understood well, and people feel you're either gay, you're straight, or you're lying, and it's just not true. And so if this could shed light more, if it could help move society a little bit further to the truth and the reality that there are a number of people that can be and are attracted to both genders, and they're really attracted to the person and not the gender.
Just the way Clive Davis said, oh, I could be attracted to a man and a woman. That was, I ain't gonna lie, that took me out. I was like, this guy, bro, this guy. Yo, that took me out, the way he said that. He said that so nonchalantly, like it was so natural. Yo, this guy, bro, this guy. But yeah, this is who Diddy is around, bro. This is who endorsed Bad Boy Records. He funded the label, you know what I mean? So Diddy had to do what it takes to get that funding, right? This is just what it comes down to in the industry. You know what I mean? This is no surprise to people who have been enlightened to this stuff.
Clive has acknowledged that his partner accompanies him to events and travels with him. He has declined to disclose his name. Nevertheless, it has become increasingly apparent that Diddy is the artist most frequently seen by Clive's side at events. Merely attending the same events may not be definitive proof, but the fact that both Clive and Diddy are openly gay and frequently seen together at social gatherings strongly suggests that there is a significant connection between them. The close bond between Diddy and Clive has been well established over the years. During this time, Clive has been in a committed relationship with a man, while Diddy has faced accusations of being closeted. Given these circumstances, the possibility of a romantic connection between the two is quite plausible. Furthermore, Clive has been open about his and relationships, yet he has never denied these rumors, further strengthening their validity. Diddy has remained silent on the matter as well. Diddy crossed paths with Clive when he was a 23-year-old aspiring artist looking to break into the cutthroat music industry. However, his hip-hop concepts managed to impress the legendary Clive, who was searching for a performer who could truly connect with the public. Clive has spoken about their initial encounter, stating that he found precisely what he was seeking in Diddy. Puffy was 23 years old and I knew the artists that I had, Aretha, Dion, Whitney, was one kind of music. Davis says, Blackface ushered in blue-collared R&B at its height, but sensing the hip-hop revolution, both Lay and I agreed that we could use someone really attuned to the street. You gotta know what you can do for yourself, and you gotta know when you need to look to other people. During that period, Diddy was employed under Andre Hall at Uptown Records. However, meeting Clive Davis proved to be a pivotal moment in his career, as he was able to make a lasting impression on the music mogul with his words, as Clive himself recounts. When I met with Puffy, he articulated that hip-hop should be part of the top 40 mainstream, and that the business would change in the future. And I said, what have you got to illustrate that point? And he played me Craig Max Flavin in Your Ear, and he played me the then unknown artist that he felt and believed so strongly. He played me 4 or 5 cuts from Notorious B.I.G. Diddy's words were compelling enough to persuade Clive, who promptly informed him that he had effectively conveyed his vision. I said, okay, you proved your point. That's when I introduced him to the weekly, what we called singles meetings. I introduced him to an executive there as someone who would help lead us to the street and share in the forthcoming hip-hop revolution. While Diddy's swift rise to stardom may appear to have been the result of a straightforward exchange with Clive, the reality is far from what Clive has presented over the years. As it turns out, this encounter served as a facade for Clive's pursuit of relationships with men, and Diddy was not the only person he engaged in such behavior with. It has been demonstrated that Clive has engaged with promising young artists, making assurances of a prosperous career in the music industry before getting romantically involved with them. Diddy appears to have avoided being cast aside after his relationship with Clive, as Clive provided him with assistance in launching his own record label, Bad Boy Records, and continued to support it for a number of years. Although Clive has been candid about his sex, Diddy has not addressed the matter himself.
You know, discovery of yourself and your bisexuality, and that was something that, you know, you had never discussed publicly before. And, you know, it was an important part of the book, and it made a big impact. I wonder if you could, you know, say a little bit about, you know, we've heard so many stories just here tonight. You know, the book very easily could just have been exclusively devoted to music and really had nothing about your personal life in it. Well, you know, what was it that made you feel that it was important, you know, to share elements of your background from Brooklyn right up into, you know, the nature of your.
All right, I'll do that. And but I do want to say, because somehow in the conversation I had earlier this evening, it became relevant to point out that other than you, Anthony, with whom I collaborated with and for this book from the very beginning, the publisher knew nothing about this. This was not in the treatment, this was not in the presentation.
It was very specifically not in the proposal to sell the book.
It was not in the proposal.
You
so
know,
that nobody who bid on this book.
The editor of the book had no idea that it would be in there.
No, this was not trying to get a subject that would make a book sell better. There's none of that. And when you read the book, you'll see it's dealt with in the very last chapter. I knew from the beginning, as I expressed to you at the very beginning, that if I was going to write a book on my life, that there's no question I was going to deal with this subject. It was nothing you and I discussed. It was a chapter that I had to write myself. And I really wrote it last summer on a boat, a trip that I take with my family, because certainly my prime role in life has been my children. I have 4. My grandchildren, I have 6. And I wrote that part of the last chapter and read it to my 4 offspring. We were on the boat together. And I've always had total love and support and understanding that after my second marriage failed, because I had been 100% heterosexual up until that point, that I opened myself up after the failure of my second marriage, having read something about bisexuality. My story was different. I just found that I would open myself up to the possibility of a relationship based on the person and not on gender.
Hold on, where did the whole allegation about Clive Davis and his homosexual behavior originate? Gin Deal may have an explanation for it.
We're going to talk about things that are going on in the past, that went on in the past. You understand? We're going to, some of the fairy tales that you've heard, we're going to get rid of that. Like the fairy tale they told you that Clive Davis, you know, saved Puff after he was thrown out of Uptown Records by Andre Harrell. You know, that was a bunch of man. You understand? Puff got fired from that City College. Andre Harrell got tired of his doing this little boy. You know, some out in DC when people got trampled. You understand? People don't talk about that. I think a couple people probably died out there in that little concert he had put together because he was using, you know, the people that he knew from uptown and his connections to give parties. That's what he used to call Daddy House and everything like that. So when he got fired from them, you know, it was people like D. Ferg, Eddie Up from Heavy D and the Boys, Tim Dog, people who was paying his car note, giving him a place to stay. You understand? People who was taking care of him, making sure he had money in his pocket. You understand? You know, that was saving because the nigga suicide watch. D. Ferg said, yo, this commit suicide the way he talking. So we had like a suicide watch out on this. You understand? And then he got hooked up with Wolf and them butt naked. That was Buck and L. I think Buck probably went to school with him. Corey, he probably went to school with Puff. And he started this thing called Butt Naked. A booty ain't a booty unless it's butt naked. That was their code. And they used to give a lot of parties. And I was the guy at the front door of their parties. Because Tim Dog used to hire me, you understand, to make sure the outside was good. Because I had a crew like that. You understand? So the crew with the 12th Street Posse, Slick and the Family, we used to run all the outsides of all those heavy hitter parties. You understand? So it wouldn't be no situations. You understand? So Tim used to hire me to do the party. So Butt Naked, this is the same guys who was like, I heard before, you know, like, and I can tell you, they was the real bad boys behind the situation. You know, they was so much of bad boys that them niggas got 9, 16 to life sentences. And they just was pardoned by Obama. You understand? So, to know the truth of the matter, they was the one putting the money behind the engine of Bad Boy until Puff could get up there to Clive Davis. You know what I'm saying? What Andre Harrell didn't do was do the same shit he used to do to motherfuckers and like have him blackballed. You know, he could thank Andre Harrell for that because Andre Harrell didn't have him blackballed. See, Puff is the type of motherfucker, he'll go and tell fuck with that guy no more. Don't do that with no guy. Don't do business with him no more. You understand? That's why you get the great artists like Craig Mack, Black Rob, you know what I'm saying? You know, got crazy jewels in the game that could spit they motherfuckers. They can't get work or jobs no more because Puff tell not to do business with them. You understand? And people who do business with him, he shade their ass. I've seen it done too many times. That's the reason why I put in my documentary that Wendy Williams wasn't there no more. You understand?
And on everything I love, that came out of his mouth. That's the same time he got Wendy Williams fired because we were out there that whole weekend and Wendy Williams had released some pictures of Puff, and it appeared that a man was pulling down his pants. What actually happened is that Puff, we were all in Cancun and we were going to the Island of Women, the Island of Women that they have in Cancun for them to do a show and a party and everything like that. And the kid Chris Lattimore was playing with Puff and pulled down his pants in front of the girls. And I guess somebody snapped a picture of it or whatever like that and sent it to Wendy Williams. She put it on her website, I guess emailed her website and everything like that. And it appeared like that. So Puff was on the phone with the people from, I think she was at WBLS at the time. And she said, he said to her, yo, if I get back in New York City and that beat is on the radio, y'all won't get nothing from no one who deals with Bad Boy, none of my friends. You know, he just started naming people that he had connects with and told them that you're boycotted. I'm looking back like this and I'm saying to myself, get Wendy Williams off the radio. She too hot for that. You know, love her. And when we got back in town, Wendy was in Pennsylvania. I was like, yo, wow. This nigga out.
So, you know, Buck and L, they was the real engine and the money that got Puff to Clive Davis.
I walked in Jimmy's office I didn't have to knock on the door or get somebody let Jimmy know Mr. Nice Dad walk right in. He do the thing. Anyway, when he walked in my office, we was having a conversation. He overheard somebody say something he probably shouldn't have heard. He wanted to holler at me. So I said, homies, give me a minute. Jimmy said, man, I'm here because Clive Davis called me, and him and Puppy is real tight, and, love it. So I thought he was talking like they got love for each other. All right. He said, yeah, they all love it. I said, well, why you keep saying that? I said, look, you saying they lovers like they sucking? He said, I don't want to say that, but that's what it means, right? I said, okay. He said, Clive don't want that to happen to Puck. He said, but this guy ain't going to be able to do his business because we know what he did. They did.
Suge Knight said that when after Tupac died, he was really angry, and there was a lot of rumors that Diddy had something to do with it. The head of Interscope Records, Jimmy Iovine, came over, and they were friends. They were doing business at the time. They talked a lot to each other in the industry. He came over and he said, don't do anything to Diddy. Just leave him alone. And he was kind of wondering why. And he said, because Clive Davis and him are in a relationship. Now, some of you are going, huh? Well, Clive Davis came out and he wrote a biography. And in it, he said he had been he had been bisexual since the 70s.
As if that weren't enough, Jaguar Wright has also been revealing some very juicy information. She says that Clive Davis is much more evil than Diddy, making him the true antagonist in the drama surrounding the music business.
I'm hoping that all of this is going to tie up really nice because there's something that I haven't said to anyone. Diddy isn't actually my real target. He's a means to an end.
I know who the real target is.
Who?
Clive Davis.
Bingo.
The demon over everybody. The true Baphomet. Yeah, allegedly. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. If you want something to end, you gotta cut it off at the head. See, certain animals and certain beasts can actually regenerate their own limbs. If you cut off a segment of a snake, he can make himself a new tail.
Yeah.
But if you want the snake to die, what do you have to do? You have to cut off the head.
You have to.
There is no other head in the music industry than Clive Davis. Everyone that is mentored under him have become victimizers, liars, thieves, and probably worse things than that under his tutelage. He has to end. If we want women to be safe in this business, if we want fair business practices, if we want people to actually be acknowledged for what they achieve rather than what other people give to them on earth, we got to cut off the head.
I agree.
It's time for Clive Davis to retire permanently.
He ain't gonna go willingly though, Jag.
I don't get no.
He ain't going willingly.
He'll go. He'll go. Because there's something that I know.
Oh.
And it goes back decades, long before I was born, but it was given to me by a very credible source. It's a mistake that he made many years ago when he was still actively managing Aretha Franklin.
Oh.
You know what you done, Clive. Confess your sins and retire for good. And take all your little minion puppets with you. Because though you might not be out front, you're running them. Ooh. They're doing your bidding. You're the problem, Clive Davis. You are the issue. You are the reason why women keep getting raped. You are the reason why boys keep getting sodomized. You are the reason why careers, brilliant careers, come crashing down to a halt because they don't want to work within your agenda.
Wow.
You are the head charge when it comes down. And it's time for you to go back from whence you came. I promise you, you might get me, but I'll get you first.
I know some guys who worked personally with Clive Davis, and they had to leave him before they hurt him. So I would say, and maybe I'm wrong, that if you tried it with them guys, why you didn't try it with him?
Right. But most likely.
And he never left Clive.
There we go. There we go right there.
If he tried it with those guys and they left.
Yeah.
For fear of hurting him. You understand?
Exactly.
So why he ain't tried with him?
Makes sense. Right. Makes sense all day long. People said both of them are demons. Somebody said you use honey. They said that's 90s language.
Huh?
When you called your girl a honey, they said that's from the 90s.
In the comments section below, please share your thoughts on whether or not Clive and Diddy ever dated. If you liked the video, please click the subscribe button to ensure that you never miss any more. Until then, family, keep it real.